Hello, friend. You look like you're in need of a good tale. Just happens I might know the one. You ever hear tale of a boy what sprang from a barrel with skin the consistency of rubber? No? Well, pull up a drink, 'cause you're in for one wild ride.
I am Noxiddar!
Hey everyone, how's it going? Noxiddar here, and welcome to our first reaction to episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the One Piece anime. I've been waiting a long time for this, and that day has finally arrived. I'm so excited. You may be wondering what's up with the image right next to me. Become king? What are those words? Well, it's a philosophy that I came up with a couple of years ago when I was out for a walk and wondering what the rest of my life was going to look like. And I realized that one of my favorite characters in all of fiction was Aragorn, and particularly movie Aragorn. And the idea of this reluctance giving way to meeting the responsibility, the need to be the leader and to become king. And I always thought that his journey to become king was, far more engrossing than the moment he actually was king. And so I thought for me, well, I don't want to be a king, but I want to go on that journey. I want to have that adventure in my life. I want to continuously be moving toward success, whether that's in business or my personal life. And so those two words, become king. And so when I was watching the live action, I almost wonder if subconsciously that registered with me when I was watching Luffy and listening to him say he was going to become king of the pirates. And I realized as I was sitting down to get ready to do this reaction, wondering how I was going to do it, I thought, what better way than to keep a reminder that I myself am on a path to become king, as well as Luffy. Let's go ahead and jump in to our first episode of One Piece. This is such a beautiful opening shot because it really just sends the message out. This is a pirate adventure. We are on the open sea. Oh wow. There we go. We have our first ship. Oh, the barrel. Going to become king of the pirates. There it is. This is what I was talking about. It's perfect. Nami. Oh, here we go. Listen to that logic. Well, that's heavy. There's definitely alcohol in that. Couldn't be anything else. Couldn't be fish. Nope. Oh, Alvida's ship. It's interesting how it looks very different from the live action, but yet at the same time, you can definitely see the inspirational tones that were taken from it. This is probably going to be so weird because I'm reacting from the live action to the anime, where a lot of people are probably coming at it from the other way. Is this the first Stan Lee cameo? I love that smirk. It just conveys so much about her character and just one subtle emotive expression. Like, something's going down, and I'm gonna capitalize on it. It's so surreal going from the live action to the anime now, and seeing the obvious attention to detail and love and care that was placed not only just in the casting, but also in the costuming. One of the things that I thought of when I first saw the teaser trailer is I'm like, wow, this is kind of like these costumes are very clean, and it reminded me of like prequel Star Wars, where everything just was kind of sterile. I didn't think that quite as much when the actual, series came out. But this is amazing. I just kind of want to take it in for a minute, and that's kind of how it was with the beautiful world of One Piece. It was showing me so much, I just had to stop and look at it. So if you're one of those people that can't stand it when people pause, I got bad news for you. It's also really interesting seeing the techniques used, because there's like definitely some filters that are going on to create the screen shake. There's a very handcrafted, do-it-yourself kind of vibe going on with this production so far, and I love seeing it. It really is a product of its time. I love these sounds. The voice acting is great. I don't know what it is. Like, why is it that Japanese VA is so good at over exaggerated expression, and where if this were to happen in like a Western cartoon adaptation and people were like that, it just like you'd want to turn it off. But yeah, it's so endearing here. And I don't know, maybe it just makes me think of like my times when I tried and attempted kendo and I was working on my ki. But of course, I was having to participate in kendo with a bunch of elementary school aged kids. So they're all practicing their ki, and it sounded a lot like Alvita and Kobe. And then there's me, and I'm just like roaring like a lion, like some extra out of Braveheart. I love that it works, and it works so well. It's so much fun to watch this. So a little caveat before we continue. I did see the first 40 episodes. However, it was second monitor content while I was editing some of my gaming videos. So I didn't pick up everything. And the thing is that I watched it in dub because I felt like that would be a better juxtaposition to the live action that I was going to watch. This is actually, even though I've seen a lot of these episodes up until that, episode 41, 42 point, this is really the first time I'm hearing One Piece. And so to kind of see the complete original package being brought forth, this is a delight. I love this. What do people have that's valuable in One Piece? Obviously there's Berry, but like, do they have like Rolexes with hermit crabs on top? It's such an imaginative world, I wouldn't put it past them. Oh. That pained. It's so good. Yeah, don't let Kobe have all those booze for himself. He's just wheeling around a big barrel of liquid courage. I never really thought about it before, but there is a kind of like physical comedy on the anticipation, and maybe more so since I know that Luffy is coming out of the barrel. But traditionally you would think like you would show the barrel and then you would show him, then you show the barrel and then you show him. So the fact that it goes for a third view back to like a pause on the barrel, it just gets me. It delights me. I've always heard that comedy, the best comedy comes in threes, so maybe that's why. Yeah, man, he was just having a nap. I've never woken up like that. Definitely not in my 30s. Not a care in the world. I love that character quality of Luffy, and I love that we got to see that just prominently featured in the live action as well. You're going to hear me talk about the live action a lot, but eventually we will get to a point where this is my only frame of reference, so look forward to that. These guys just tried to kill him, and he's still introducing himself. He's giving his Jiko Shokai, his self-introduction. It's so good. It almost just makes me wonder if he rehearsed what he was going to do. I'm going to pop out of the barrel, and whoever's there first, they're going to hear it from me. My Jiko Shokai. That's right. This isn't Alvida's ship. That's right. It's such an understatement, and there's no weight put on the fact that his first adventure out was to basically put his boat straight into the mouth of a massive maelstrom. I feel like maybe like Kobe's actually the one thinking about this. Like, you just survived a what, and now you want to do what? You know, I think, I could never. Origin story time. Wait a minute. So, Kobe gets on a boat, and it turns out that boat belonged to the pirates? Or was it his boat, and then the pirates commandeered it? That's some Grand Theft Aquatic. It's true, Luffy, he's a wimp. He really does say hate, doesn't he? What a strong word, damn. But that's Luffy, he's a man of conviction. If he likes it, he likes it. If he hates it, he hates it. Clarify. You guys really gotta clarify. There you go. You should have led with that. Become king, right there. Yep. Let him do it. We know Kobe's not gonna be able to stand in his way. He kept saying impossible. That's like one of my favorite Japanese words too. Muri, 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 muri. It's Kobe really is a wimp here, isn't he? Yep. That's how I arrived at this too. There it is. I love that. This is how it's gonna be. I love how a pirate is concerned with whether or not someone is gonna be generous. Yep. Get him, Kobe. Now's your chance. I love how Kobe's dream is so different from his temperament, from his attitude. And it's so exaggerated, but at the same time, it's kind of sweet because I think it's one of the clearest examples of how when your life is that disconnected from what you want, from your hopes and dreams, and from the reality that you're currently faced with, you're kind of in this holding pattern. You're creating this resistance in your own life, and it's amazing how when you have that negativity, it attracts negativity. And then you like on the other hand, you have this this mirror image, this contrasting with Luffy, who has this kind of positive, matter-of-fact, succinct, very clear vision in his head. He will become king, and things don't bother him. Literally, swords cannot cut him. And it is so distinct, the difference between the resolve that you have. It's not enough to have a dream. It is very much in how you chase a dream. And this is something that in my 30s I've really been trying to wrestle with, is the idea of like, you can be ambitious, but if you stand still, you don't go anywhere. At some point you have to let your feet lead and let the rest just kind of follow and happen. And so it's very interesting seeing myself somewhere in the middle between a Luffy and a Kobe right now. These are just weird things that I'm going to pick up on as the series go, because these are the kind of things I think about. And maybe that's why I thought, I could probably never do a reaction video, because I don't know if I think the way people think. So I hope it's not too weird for you guys, but I'm loving this. I feel like we're, how far are we? We're 15 minutes into the first episode, and I've gotten so much out of it already. Man, these pirates didn't do anything in the live action. They just stood there and got smashed. I've actually heard kids talk like that. It's so funny. You can't be serious. I want to touch on that after this episode. Don't let me forget. Yeah, because if there was more than him, it would be pirates. I wonder if he ever explains why 10. Like, where does he get 10 from? He's driven. He doesn't care. He can't be serious. And this is a good thing. Ragged old hag. I love it. That's an insult, Kobe. Good job. Ragged old hag. I like how the back of his throat looks like a microphone. Really selling that we're yelling right now. Oh, that's what I mean. That warping. Oh man, it's like Windows Movie Maker. This is amazing. Oh, here it goes. That exaggeration, that flow, that line of action. I love the way that just kind of translates and infers movement, even though really it was just kind of a static image that was, had a little bit of shake to it. I love how so much has happened on such a small stage in just one episode. We have the pirates going after a passenger ship, a barrel getting onboarded, a coward meeting a hero, in the making, on top of now a boss battle, on top of being chased by the law. The guitar really sells it there. Let's go. That's the end of our first episode of One Piece. We did it. I did it. Well, we did it. We really did this together. One of the things I wanted to go back to and kind of just talk about for a second before we start the second episode is the line of thinking that goes behind "you can't be serious." And it made me think of a story of one of the students that I taught in Japan. His name was Koki, and I love this kid, and I see so much of Luffy in Koki, but I guess the opposite would be true. I see so much of Koki in Luffy. Luffy and wait, which one? I see so much of Luffy in Koki. I see very similar personality traits here. And I remember I would be getting ready, I'd be preparing a lesson, writing something on the chalkboard, and I would hear the soft pitter-patter of the shoes walking single file to get ready to come to my classroom, and then I would hear one distinct set of footsteps, and they would be running. And I would hear Koki! Just like a very angry teacher. And all of a sudden, the door would just slam open, and there would be this exasperated and excited kid sitting there, smile beaming. He's in trouble, but he's so happy to be there. He's running inside. He's making loud car noises, and he saddles up to the front of the board where I'm writing, and he pumps the brakes. He comes to a stop. He opens up his side door, and he steps out of in his own imagination, his DeLorean. And he looks at me and he says, Doku, we have to go back to 1985. He loved Back to the Future. And nobody was going to stand in his way from driving his DeLorean and getting to me and coming and getting me so that we could go back to the future. I loved Koki so much. And the thing is that as a teacher, I also had the other teachers. They would bring him up in conversation. They'd talk about him. And I remember I had one teacher who really kind of told me that, Koki isn't gonna amount to much. He's not serious about his studies. He doesn't give it the time and attention that it deserves. It's very uncharacteristic of him. But in the conversations I had with Koki, he was intelligent. He was witty. Probably more than anything, he was bored because he knew what he wanted to do and it wasn't happening in that moment. And so I see this when people look at Luffy, they think he's ridiculous. They're not seeing the person that's driven. They're not seeing the person that is moving toward what they want. The idea that they can't be serious. They don't fall in line. They don't meet expectations. They're a very unexpected individual that you can expect nothing out of. Is the exact kind of person who changes this world. When people turn their eye away from them, they become entirely unexpected. You can't be serious is a badge of honor. And if anyone has ever told you that, I hope you too see it as a badge of honor. All right, that's enough. Let's go to episode 2. Oh, it's like the same opening. Oh, no, it's not. There he is. First thing we're talking about is the weather. It's like every conversation I've ever had in Japan. And again, I want to highlight just how distinctly different Kobe and Luffy are here in a very interesting way, because Kobe clearly has, like he said, the base skills needed to be a good sailor. And Luffy doesn't seem to have these. However, Luffy's aspirations to become king of the pirates trumps any and all inexperience, lack of know-how. And so the thing is like, you can spend your whole life preparing, but if you're standing still, you're not moving toward anything. And I just want to point out that Kobe here, having these skills, he's reluctantly being pulled out of that position where he found himself standing still. And that is, I think, a lot of the magic of Luffy. And I think it's a lot of the magic that we're going to see in how Luffy really interacts with a lot of the other characters in the show. he pulls them out of the position that they're in. And they are coming along whether they want it or not. I love it. Bloodthirsty beast. Look at that. Again, he's just not phased. See, when faced with strange and uncertain situations, sometimes it's just better to just laugh at it. And then you've got Kobe, who doesn't. He, in fact, worries about every aspect of this new information. You're the power duo of careful and carefree. You know, I try to envision this as like someone who would be watching this at the first time. And this is like music reserved for villains. But that guitar, it tells a different story, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, it's scary, but it's awesome. I don't want them. The green eggs and ham. Yeah, Helmeppo was way more handsome in the live action, wasn't he? Ooh, onigiri. I think what I love about this scene is it reminds me of a very awkward situation I found myself in Japan. For whatever reason, the school was preparing for their music festival, and so the city was not sending school lunches that day. And so the school had wrote on the board earlier in the week, and I go to that school on Friday, so I didn't really know this very well ahead of time. I had 1 week notice, but I also worked at 5 different schools, so keeping things organized in my brain was pretty difficult. Anyways, they let me know this was going to be an onigiri day. This was going to be a rice ball day. So a lot of the teachers cooked, prepared, or had their significant other cook and prepare rice balls for them to take to work. And the Ego Tanto sensei, so the teacher who was overseeing the English program, told me, they said, Teddy, go ahead and you can bring sandwiches. And I was like, all right, yeah, I like sandwiches. Sure. I don't know how to make onigiri. And so I did. I followed directions. And school happens that day, and we're all rehearsing for the music festival. And then lunchtime, and we're all so inside of a Japanese school setting. For those of you that don't know, all the teachers are sharing an office, like a big, huge office. And so everybody's sitting down at their desks, and we're getting ready to eat. And all of a sudden, the secretary watches me pull out these sandwiches. And she comes over to me in this almost like accusatory voice. She's doing this line of questioning that makes me think I'm a criminal or something. She's like, Teddy sensei, today is onigiri day. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's awesome. You have sandwiches. Uh-huh. Yeah. 2 of them. It's onigiri day. Everybody brings onigiri. And I was like, yeah, the Ego Tanto sensei, she told me that I could bring. She's like, you don't like onigiri? And I was kind of nonplussed. Yeah. I love onigiri. It's so good. And she's like, but today is onigiri day, and you have sandwiches. And I started to realize what was happening here. And this is like, all of a sudden, so I'm having this like real-time character assassination. And finally she like speaks up for the whole room full of teachers. Hey, Teddy does not like onigiri. He's eating sandwiches today. Like everybody stops what they're doing. And long story short, people were very kind and they shared onigiri with me. You know, maybe that I think one of the teachers, their wife had prepared it for them. And so they brought it for me. It was very sweet and kind, and you know, I had to smooth things over. We almost caused an international incident by bringing sandwiches to Onigiri Day. So things. This is what I mean. There are things that I'm gonna see inside of this anime that are gonna just remind me of stories and just moments, and they're just gonna draw it out of me. So I hope you don't mind me sharing, but it's just like one of the great joys of storytelling in general, and so I'm loving this so much. It's a pretty stiff penalty for a girl just making some onigiri. This man is very clearly having a crisis of consciousness here. Yeah. Turn yourself into onigiri. Good guy, Luffy. He didn't even hesitate. He just knew what he had to do. And notice that immediate character change that prompted in Kobe. This is the first time we see Kobe being nurturing, getting closer to his dream of wanting to protect people. And this is what I mean. Luffy is not going to let people stand still. And just Luffy's always moving. He's just... Here we go. Let him have it, because he brought sandwiches to work. Became a criminal. Goso-sama. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Almost like a little Michael Jackson in his laugh right there. Those unsure steps. Is it weird that I've seen this body language actually in real life? Maybe he's just trying to enjoy a meal. Or drink. Bit of both. That's a lot more than 7 days in the live action. But he's down to 7 days. Okay. No, they said 10 days, didn't they? Dude, I hate people that just, like, throw that entitlement around. I didn't realize that Nami was there, too. I thought maybe that was just a change from the live action to the anime. Or the anime to the live action. Wait. I still said that backwards. But my daddy's gonna kill you! There's no time to consider consequences. There's only action. I couldn't even imagine being strung up for 3 weeks, let alone, like, 3 hours. Probably hot outside. Oh, interesting. So we get this flashback a little earlier. The way animes do their sentimental, sad music, just... They go deep. They go hard. Don't let that twinkling xylophone fool you. Yeah. That's how you know he's a good guy. He doesn't want to be a criminal. There it is. Is that willpower. But his willpower to be stubborn and stay in place. It's just speaking Luffy's language right here. Hey, he wants him. It's so fun seeing the things that they kind of say out loud in this medium for storytelling are things that they just showed in the live action. So I almost feel like, in some level, I'm getting like an extra level of commentary to the things that I saw in the Netflix series. Cause you're... Who isn't worth hitting. Wait, hang on. There's a compliment in there somewhere, because he said he wasn't worth hitting, but he just got hit. I mean, this is a warped sense of appreciation. But it's there. Look at you living in my shadow. This Captain Morgan seems a little bit more aware of what's going on. You know, it's really kind of interesting because here we have a person in a point of leadership who defines themselves by what they do. And they, you know, and maybe the more aspirational attitude should be not to define yourself by what you do, but to define yourself by who you are. And let who you are define what you do. And so this is almost someone working through flawed logic. And again, we're going to see how Luffy being the opposite is just a direct contrast to this. And it's so funny that something that I thought was so ridiculous and I imagine would be so extremely hard to get into is something that I am actually getting so much out of. And, I talked about how, like, I kind of had regret and I kind of had shame, but I think maybe a more healthy perspective is that I'm ready. I'm in a better place, and I'm in a better just frame of mind. I've had world experience. I've had ups and downs and things to really appreciate what's here, because I really think that the veneer of exaggeration and wild, wacky visuals it's a form of misdirection, because these are very concrete and powerful forms of comparison that you could sit down in a Fortune 500 seminar and hear someone speak very similar to it, or you could watch One Piece and get the whole thing piecemealed through like this incredibly epic story. And I'm just like, dude, I'm delighted. Let's keep going. Everything he does is right. And he needs that validation from others. Luffy doesn't need validation. He just tells you how it is. His is a form of cowardice, and he overcompensates it with might, with strength, so that his strength isn't a characteristic of him. It's a crutch. Uh-oh. Now you've done it. See, that moment is more embarrassing for Captain Morgan, and he needed his scapegoat. See? Yep, it was a blemish on his impeccable record. This guy is so insecure. I take it back. Maybe the live action Captain Morgan had more going for him, even if he wasn't very perceptive of what was going on around him. Luffy's not even worried. What a happenstance kidnapping. This is like, hey, you know what I need, come with me. But there's no option in that. Just like he didn't give Zoro an option. Luffy will not let you stand still. See, he's not an idiot. He's very aware. Hey, here's my human shield. Try it. See what happens. No butt shot in this episode, just a butt kicking. Inadvertently so. I mean, he just dragged him and just wore him ragged. Yeah. You can be a pirate by yourself, but if you got two people, you can form a massive coup. He's so insecure that everything is a slight against him, even if it's not. He knew exactly what he was doing right there. That's got to be the best pirate that I've ever heard of. I wonder if it is a little like Jack Sparrow, where maybe he didn't actually have a plan. He just wanted to go out the window, and it just really worked in his favor that he was going to be there to catch all those bullets. Yeah, I don't know. But the thing is he's so confident in himself that he's going to celebrate that victory, even if it was entirely unintentional. I love that about Luffy. I just don't know. I hear a lot of comments where people talk about how, especially when we are gearing up for the live action, they're like, well, this Luffy doesn't seem very stupid. And I haven't really seen a demonstration that Luffy's stupid. Maybe this goes back to like that story I told about Koki. It's like when you're that driven and you're that single-minded, things just don't compute. And not in a way that demonstrates a lack of intelligence, but in like, what it does demonstrate is an overwhelming sense of resolve and determination that just leaves you. And like we often see with Luffy so far, like he's just not fazed by things. If anything, he sees the humor in it. He sees the humor in how much something that should affect him doesn't. And then he, I guess, ultimately becomes affected by it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a false positive. There you go. Luffy. False positive. Tell him. 自己紹介. Become king. Alright. Third episode. I love that it's this opening shot of the sun, but like, it's very clearly a different situation here. Now we have the Marines. This is, I love that continuity. I like how when he laughs because things are ineffective, it's like totally different from when a villain does it. But it's ultimately the same situation. Yeah. Yeah. He gets it. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what he wants. See that? Kobe's getting it. See, when these adults are saying you can't be serious, Kobe's seeing now. He's seeing that seriousness. He sees it for what it is. Yeah. A government-defying villain. Just like our rebel-rousing ancestors here in the States. Government-defying villains dumping tea in the harbor. I love the fact that we're getting this explanation from Captain Morgan and not from Luffy, like we did in the live action. Because this is a person who really gloms onto like strength and that rise to power and achievement. So you almost wonder if there's like a hint of jealousy. Like he may not admit it, but there's some respect to be had there. Alright, come on, Luffy. It's fine. I wouldn't know how ropes work either. I love that. I love that he stopped every blade. Yep. Ambition. What is it that they say? Real recognizes real. And it's the Gum Gum Whip. That's cool. I like that. These sound effects are so good. I think that would be such a cool job. Just like sitting in the sound room, watching this, and then basically creating, in a sense, you're creating the world that lets you in, where, you know, animators are showing you the world that you're watching from without. And like, that's the magic of like sound and music, and by extension, voice acting as well. Again, I have no idea if, like, Luffy just knew this would happen, or if it's just because it did happen, he's celebrating. He just takes life as it comes. And it just happened that that was really fortuitous. Us. Isn't that such a powerful, like, feeling when you make a new friend, and even their language that they use is inclusive of you? I think this is such a really great way to show the intrigue of Nami's character. We know everything that we really need to know about her, even though her story is happening around Luffy. Oh yeah, so is the nature of Luffy's stomach being rubber part of the reason he's just always hungry? Oh? He needs 10. Man, talk about, like, not reading the fine print. Wait, it's just us? Listen, you can start a coup against the government with 2 people, according to Captain Morgan. So, 2 should be fine for now. I think I have this filter on Photoshop. This was like Photoshop CS3. Definitely. Oh. Never tried to fight for anything. He stood still. And someone came into his life and pulled him away. Pulled him out of it. You know, I was watching this review of the live action earlier, and somebody had a really interesting takeaway, like a really interesting observation about Luffy's character, in that the sense that because he's so powerful and kind of knows he can handle himself, and even if he doesn't necessarily know how strong an opponent might be or how difficult a situation might be, like he's not able to, you know, adequately calculate that, just the sheer determination of his direction that he has chosen in life, he approaches everything, you know, we say like with fearlessness, but it seems like it's just even more beyond that. It's not present the way that it's, you know, we are perceiving a difficulty that just isn't even being factored into his brain. And it's so, and that actually I think kind of elevates the humor of, you know, Marines walking in and daring to ask, "Are you pirates?" And just matter of fact, without any trying to finesse or navigate it. It's just, yeah, we're pirates, and I'm gonna be the pirate king. I love it. It's so good. It's one of the things that I just immediately have glommed onto and love about Luffy, no matter which media presentation I'm seeing it in. So this moment just really made me think about that. Yeah. Luffy's affecting even people in the background. He has forever changed the destiny of this place. Shellstown will never be the same as a result of what he did here. I've flashily taken the map. I don't know, it seemed like you were still trying to be a little discreet there. That swelling adventurous score. I love it. Absolutely love it. We did it. 3 episodes. And there we have it. The first 3 episodes of One Piece. You know, I kept asking if things that Luffy were doing were, you know, if like it was just entirely unintentional. But then I'm reminded by that last scene where he very intentionally created a scenario for the Marines to be able to trust Kobe enough for him to continue and join them and be able to pursue his dream. And I don't know if this is like a widely accepted sentiment about Luffy, but I guess I never really understood it when people were like, "Oh yeah, he's just dumb." Like, not like dumb as in like, you know, as a slight against his endearment, but just like he's just not very intellectually bright. And I don't see that. It's, to me, I see it as like he has his intention set, and if it does not fall within the purview of that intention he has set, it just does not factor. It doesn't shake him. It doesn't move him. It doesn't bring him to fear. But at the same time, he's very aware of what people are saying. He's very aware of what the mood and the temperature of the the situation. He could read the room, and that's why when people are scared and they're not having the same reaction that he is, and that he's having a non-reaction to both Zoro and Captain Morgan, he's laughing, because he's just so undeterred by these this new information that he's given all the time about how difficult things are going to be, because his intention is already set to something that he knows everybody will tell him is difficult, impossible, moody, and he's unfazed by it. And I love that he has decided to become king. I really like how all of this just came together for this video, for this reaction, and I look forward to more, and I hope you do too. Well, thank you for joining me. But that's all the time for today. This is Noxiddar. Out.